Rahubat Musyara'u. I'd like to begin with the all prayer. Be Paranin Empire Babasar. Wu Pa Bathal Matat Arastat. Wu Pata Wubasanen Harar. Bara. Nabab Nasdar Mukdar. Naut Mukdad Badet Pata. Naut Muklas Badet Yanun. Anuki Jah with Pa Ashok Impa Paut. Wu Kalal Ashok Kawan Jawaf Neye. Anuki Kasam Impa Paut. Wu Pa Paut Kawan Kasam Neye. Anuki Wahu Ame Pa Paut. Wu Pa Paut Kawan Wahu Ame Neye. I'm sorry, let me start all over. Anuki Jah with Pa Ashok Impa Paut. Wu Kalal Ashok Kawan Jawaf Neye. Anuki Kasam Im Pa Paut. Wu Pa Paut Kawun Kasam Im Neye. Anuki Wahu Ame Pa Paut. Wu Pa Paut Kawun Wahu Ame Neye. Nakuk Kador Naja. Ame Kasam Im Pa Paut. Wu Kabub Ame Mush Kas Nakuk Kador Kawan Kalil Pafef. Nakuk Aroja with Pa Paut. Ameh wase, ameh aradni, kawun leye, bakoi jawef pa paut, anuki yabed bi ye nefasni, pa paut kawun anuki, pa paut kador nakuk kador, pa paut amul nakuk amul. Thank you for tuning in. Today's update is about Jacob York, aka Yaqub Muhammad. We have a lot to cover, and unfortunately, we have another year that has passed, and the master teacher is still incarcerated. But those of us who know who Panabab Yanun is, those of us who walked with him for many years, we know that he will be home. One moment, family. Let me take this off for a minute. How you do this? Okay. Rahubat Musyara'u. Thank you for tuning in to my live. If you see this, these are one of our tribal marks that we wear. It is a Cahol pencil. It's a line that goes from left to right and a line down. I think that's what it is. I'm not sure because I wasn't given the design of the tribal marking. It was given to another sister many years ago, and I forgot to ask her how it's done. But I believe it's done like this. It's done at the bottom of the lip, and then there's a line that goes down. For those of you who don't know, my name is Tabitjet Hatshepsit Atumre'e. I am the student of Panabab Yanun. I am a sister that hasn't been involved with the legal for many, many years. I have written Dr. Melakazi York for many, many years, and I've talked to him since he's been in there for many, many years. Today, as you can see, I have my wall set up. And I would like to also say to you all that this is not an easy thing for me to do because you have to relive events, and these people I lived in a community with. Of course, they didn't know me because I was not a virgin when I moved in, even though I was young. I moved in at the age of 20 years old, and I saw the Banats, the Mukmanatis, the Mukminuns, what we call the younger generation. And what Panabab Yanun was doing was he was setting up a spiritual community so that we could raise men, we could raise young boys and girls up righteously so that they could replenish the planet with righteousness. Okay? So a lot of people that don't know Dr. Melakazi York, they don't know. But there are thousands of us, And I'm pretty sure by now, millions of us that know who he is. Many of you have seen Panabab Yanun call the crabs out the sky. You were there on Kadesh. You've seen it with your own eyes. So don't sit up here and say that we're a cult. He's crazy, because now you guys are seeing UFOs everywhere. Dr. Melkazi York was set up by his son, Jacob York. He is incarcerated over a family feud. And if you're listening, Abigail, because I know you're listening, you're on my wall too. Because you're a liar and the truth ain't in you. You had the audacity to go on Hulu talking about you escaped from a cult. But today, I'm going to prove that you are, in fact, a liar. How did the master teacher still stay incarcerated after all these years when you all recanted and said that the FBI forced you all to say and lie and say that he molested you when you were 6 and 7 years old? By the way, these are all grown men and women, adults. All of them were sexually active. They were not virgins as they claimed that they were. Matter of fact, I have something that I want to read too. One moment. Before I begin to read this, I want to say this to some of you sisters. I know you don't like me. I know y'all do all kinds of things. I just want to let you know that if you are a woman or a male in this tribe and you burn candles and you light candles and you practice witchcraft against another member of this tribe, you do not walk with us. We do not practice witchcraft, okay? Hold on a second, because I got all these books here. A minute. Now, there's a few things that I have to read before we begin, so that you all can understand what took place. And why Dr. Melkazi York is still incarcerated. Jacob York is behind the scheme of things, okay? You all need to know that. And I have a few things, words that I need to read from the hands of Dr. Melkazi York. Okay. Now, this is coming from Panabab Yanun. It's called Pa Mukzadu Wu Pa Mushashu. It means the ones who lie and the ones who deceive. And this is what it says. Hold on a second. Let me put this. Okay, great. Okay, it says the ones who lie and the ones who deceive. Okay. Part 1 and part 2. It says, the omniverse, this is coming from the words of the master teacher. The omniverse appointed me, this is verse 83. The omniverse appointed me when the time was right for my incarnation, June 26, 1945 AD, 1 second past midnight on a Tuesday. So I was named Kobina Tuesday and given many attributes over the years to represent each school I was sent to convey. Who sent you and what do you have that I have not already said? If you are indeed my successor, stop the lies. These are all the people and they're all brothers. It's a list of them. Maybe I should do an update about that too, because that's just freaking disgusting. You know, y'all brothers are acting like y'all some gurus, like, you know, Baba left you to pass the torch on to you, for you to teach his people. A lot of you men and women are online, you're teaching the doctrine, and you're not giving credit to where you're getting this information from. The minute the master teacher says something about the Arctic underground, they go running down there digging. Okay, they know who he is, and his own people have done this to him. You cannot blame Sheriff Seals because Sheriff Seals does not start this war. This war was started by Jacob York, and I'm going to prove my facts today. So get ready, because I'm about to stomp him, drag him, and run him over, because it's been long overdue that you get exposed for the demon that you are. Now, let me begin again. The Omniverse appointed me when the time was right for my incarnation, June 26, 1945 AD, 1 second past midnight on Tuesday. So I was named Kobina Tuesday and given many attributes over the years to represent each school I was sent to convey. Who sent you? And what do you have that I have not already said if you are indeed my successor? Stop the lies. The only one who sent you is your own greed, lust, and ego. How many people have you preached to over the years that in our old expired doctrine you were right, and now you be a man or woman enough to say you were wrong? So you pretend we are still in the old outdated schools. This is your pride being tested or your ego. Won't let you say he gave me answers to what I asked, and all I asked was what I believed. As a Bible or Quranic believer, I don't know how to return to those I preached at and say this was what he really came to teach us. Put your pride aside. It is best for you if you only know what is best for you. Everything that I told you will come to pass has happened. I told you back in Brooklyn that I had a vision on this day and time. I put the Islamic world in a book I did on Revelations. I told you and showed you the men in the news. I told you the Islamic world is being taken over by demons in human form. Did I not? I told you it's time for us to move on out of Islamic, Moorish, or otherwise. Some of you can't let go. That is your choice. Yet if we were still in Shadullah community, dressed as we both males and females dress, what would begin happening these days if we live that life as Ansars? I also told you over and over, I am not a holy man. Don't live by those laws. I am not a holy person. I am a master teacher, not grown out of religion of Bible and Quran. I am an extraterrestrial. I made that clear. I don't claim to be, as well as the man from Planet Risk. So he said, I made that clear in the book. I don't claim to be, as well as the man from Planet Risk. I saved you from yourselves. I saved you from Kakasu. I became the fall guy, the offering for your perverted sexual ways and wicked hearts. All one has to do is look at you all out there and what you are doing, how you are living your lives today. And it's plain to see you were always just a Negro pretending to be righteous. You all slept around from mate to mate. You all lied. You all cheated. You all stole, just as you all are doing right now. I did not make you what I met you or as I watched you grow into. That was already in your genes from your 29 relatives. You only needed me to put the blame on, so you offered me up a willing sacrifice. I am. All anyone has to do is look and see what you are doing for our people and what I am doing for our people to see who is the evil one. You tried to pretend you were abused sexually or mentally, yet there was no gates keeping you in. Whether it was in Brooklyn, upstate Georgia, you lived the life you wanted and you wanted to stay. You tried to put your lust upon me. You were also lustful in your hearts, and now look at you, still lustful. It was you, not me, who did the sexual acts. And look at how fast you run from mate to mate now in the world with those you pretended was unclean heathens, even whites. Yet now you have all kinds of sex with them. Who do you think you're fooling? The world sees you and the world sees me and what we are both doing these days for our people. You're back where you started from when I met you or you came to me. I taught you all you use today to get over in the world. Are you thankful? No, you still slander and gossip on me when you know the truth about yourself. The truth will soon be revealed. You will be exposed, just as you tried to do with me with books, slander, gossip, helping Euro Americans in hopes that I would die while in prison or go away forever so your lies would not be exposed and the world would know who really are the sick pedophiles, molesters, and perverts. How can you live a lie as if it's the truth just to get by while you know? I don't hate you. I only feel sorry for you because I know you know what you did and can only pretend you did the right thing for others while it was really for you. You protected yourself, fearing the true you would be exposed for all to see. You all plotted and planned on me while you knew that Jake or Yakub was a child molester, pedophile, put out because he used to rape little boys in Brooklyn. You knew, yet you knew this, yet and still you work with him to hurt me and others. And he and you work with Europeans to hurt not just me, the people on the land. Let them take the land and use sex as the excuse when you know better. Think if I decided to write a book about the going ons from Brooklyn of 1970 on up to the land and I tell the whole truth, would you like that made public? I know you will say, I don't care, when you and I know you really do care. Would you like your mother or father exposed for what they used to do? I know you don't. And unlike you, no white person can make me embarrass our race. That would make me a slanderer and a gossiper. Are you still righteous Muslims? Were you ever? Many of you just wanted an excuse to return to the world of the Americans and use what you learned from me to get over. This I know and you know is the truth. This you should know. Thanks to you, we, Nawapians, are greater than before, worldwide in our doctrine perfected, and we will rebuild Nawapia. You can't stop Pops. Look at us now, our websites. We are on the move like never before. Put your pride aside and return home to your own as Nawapians of Wunawap before it's too late. For these are the days of truth. As you see, all I taught you is before your eyes right now. That you know is true. I am the real deal. You wanted me to be a religious savior. I'm not that. Never was, and I told you that. I am the savior, all right? The warner, all right? The healer, all right? The reminder, right? The one who guides, all right? The center, all right? The reformer, all right? And more, yet not in your religious sense, not at all. I am and always have been the supreme being. None knows what I know, nor a fraction of what I know. I am the master teacher, Panabab Yanun, sent to teach you what none before me could teach or how I teach. All I want to do is set the whole record straight. Thanks to you all, eyes are on now beholding me. Ready or not, here I come. You who are frauds, who pretend to be real, you insist on living a life of infidelity and practice of promiscuity, while we Nawapians of Wunawap persist in God and our race of people to a life of fidelity and to live for of and by each other. We plan for the future while you live day by day. You instigate a life in the world of the white race or Arabs who live only for of and by each other. They are murderers and live of debauchery. Yet we Nawapians of Wunawap reiterate the necessity to live a life of compassion and tranquility. The legacy you leave for your children is inadequate and ignorance, living in the image of the white race or red race. Moreover, you clutch back onto the world of being niggas. The doctrines of others, people's ancestors, completely irrelevant to your own race. When you pretend to be me, your grandiose dreams were in our overindulgence, seeking only for yourselves sexual gratification, sensuality, and debauchery. You're the promiscuous and you're the criminals. For you, a Zayit's ultimate purpose in this life is lust and luster. With that in mind, you will only regress speedily while you watch us, Nawapians, move forward with progress as you become, in addition to that grades of thought, thoughts, pocket of poverty, vast field of drugs, drunkenness, and disease. The burdens to bear for what you attempted to do to your own race of people in favor for the white race. Did you ever stop and think, if the white man had me in custody, he had what he called the problem, and I was not on the land? Why did they still attack the women and children on the land? They already knew I was no longer the owner of the land, so why? To take the land in hopes to kill some black children and mothers. That was their plan, and you helped them with that. And now, what do you have to show for it? After Jake, Yaqub used you all, both mentally and sexually, he moved on back into his world and sent each of you on your way with nothing. By how you helped him against me. He never cared about you. It was all personal. You were used by him and by the whites. Him for me and them to take the land owned by blacks. What do you have for yourselves now? No, what do you have now for your services to help destroy the lives of so many? Not a thing except shame. Let the cursed seed of the Adamites shut up. They were behind the lies and deception of your talking tongues. Furthermore, let those who conform to their designs be regretful for being deceived by the white race of devils by their treachery. For in the end, we emerged as the best of people, while he was only a swift deceiver and only transformed you people into the manipulators for their own use. I forgive you. Can you forgive yourself? The white race of devils own the entire right of deception and double dealing. They are the craftiest of humanoids. Such atrocities are not characteristics of the black race, a noble and honorable people of our natural nature. Rather, such activities are the delusions of the diabolical and damned devils themselves. From day one, 6,000 years ago, the seed of Adam, with their unnatural, grafted nature, manufactured lies and committed criminal activities and stirred rebellion against their own creators and makers. Now, with that being said, this is the words of Panabab Yanun, coming from the pen of our master. Again, it's called Pa Mukzabu Wupa Mushashku, the ones who lie and the ones who deceive. If you do not have a copy, I will send it to you for free. Okay? I just wanted to read that, start that off with that. Now, we're going to get to this wall in a minute. Okay? I just want to say this to you all. You know, after reading Lightning from the East, and I also read some excerpts, I had to reread some things from The War of Gods and Men, where it tells a story about Murdoch, who was the prisoner of the pyramid. But before I begin, there's some things that I need to expose about Jacob York in this whole case, because I don't want to spend too much time about anything personal. I can do another live, because there were some things I wanted to talk about, but I want to make this about this devil, okay? So thank you for tuning in. Please bear with me. About to go to the wall. Let me put this up, because I got to step up on top of the thing so y'all can see it with the phone. All right. Got some real important things on this wall that I set up that y'all need to see. The world needs to see. And these niggas need to be exposed for what they did. Look at Abigail. Yo, she looked like a freaking... You know, this girl looks horrible, man. Look at her. This is the girl. And look what she says up here. I escaped the cold. First of all, Abigail, let me say this. I want to say this to you, Abigail. I know your aunt, okay? I don't know your father, Yusuf, but I know your aunt, Gail. And I know your cousin, Muttley, okay? They all from Brooklyn, all right? And, you know, you sitting up here making up these stories and you lying. First of all, hold on a second, y'all. There's something that I got to expose about Jacob before we even get into that, okay? Hold on a second. Okay, so first of all, let me say this. How this whole thing started was from Jacob York, all right? This whole thing started with this ugly, freaking sick, freaking dude, man. You know? And I don't know if any of you ever seen him up close. He has a real big booty. You know, he has a butt like he has a butt like a woman. He's shaped like a woman. Even though he's an ugly man, he has a big, round, voluptuous booty, and it sticks out like a woman. Okay? So now what happened to him was, to Jacob, was sexually assaulted by somebody. I don't know who it was who did it to him. And if, I guess when he did it, when whoever did it to him, he liked it. Okay? And he's really not into women. He could go ahead and have them trophies from them nasty celebrity women that be sleeping around past to having orgies and doing all that disgusting stuff. He could walk around with them girls on his arm to camouflage them, because a lot of men in the music industry do it. They hurry up, find a girl that look like a Barbie doll and have her walking around them, but behind closed doors, they taking it up the butt. Okay? He's a freaking homosexual. He's a liar. He's a thief. And he worked for the FBI. This nigga is on payroll just like Damian Pryor was on payroll. I didn't want to put Damian Pryor up here because I did a whole audio on Damian Pryor. Go to my YouTube channel. Put in Damian Pryor. He's another Deuce Y York. He calls himself Deuce Y York. He's another freaking pedophile. And he got cases on him now for sexually molesting children. All right? So now, I want y'all to check this out because his name is Jacob, right? So now, I want to rewind the clock back a few years, okay? Because in the Ansar law community, and by the way, Dr. Melody York told me it was the Ansars that put him in there. So get this thing out your mind. Somebody said it was the people from the islands and all this other stuff. Listen. It was all kinds of people from all walks of life, and they all lived in the Ansar law community. Next, this girl next to Jacob York is Leah, and now y'all know who that is. That's Uma York. All right, we're going to get into it today because I got some really, I want to line this whole thing up for you all so you all can understand and you'll be able to see it clearly and be like, wow, this makes sense. Because for years, you all have been wondering, well, what's going on with Dr. York? How come is he still locked up? What happened? And then you got people spreading rumors saying that Dr. Melody York molested children. That is a lie. They set it all up to make it look that way, and they took this case and hid it. That's why no one ever heard about it on CNN. You never heard about it on these major news store, CNN, NBC News, World News. No, it was always some small little rinky-dink town like Newton County, Putnam County, Milledgeville, those small little racist Ku Klux Klan towns, Brunswick, Georgia. They would air the case on those things, and then FBI informants, agents, and the tribe was told to make sure this gets out on YouTube. Make sure the world hears that this man molested children. This is the biggest case in the United States, and all this other stuff. And they keep saying it was children. It was children. This is a lie, and I'm going to show you because I got all the evidence right here. I'm going to show y'all today. Okay. Now, let's go back to Jacob York. Now, as I said, back in the Ansar law days, Jacob has a brother named Ayub. He has a brother named Ayub. He has a sister named Fatima. He has another brother named Yadulahi. And Yadulahi and Fatima, his sisters, are twins, fraternals, brothers, say brother and sisters, but they twins. So it's Yadulahi, Fatima, Ayub, Jacob, and I don't know if I'm missing one more. I think Zubaydah had 4 children. Okay, and his mother's name is Dorothy Johnson. May she rest in peace. She passed away. So now this is what happened. Now, when Dr. York had his son Yadulahi, he said that Yadulahi was going to be the heir to the throne. He told Yadulahi, you are going to be, when I leave, you're going to walk in my shoes. And Baba used to say all the time that out of all his children, he favored Yadulahi because Yadulahi was a spiritual guru. He was a very spiritual brother, very humble. He was blue-black, real chocolate, nice-looking, humble dude. And Baba, that was Baba's twin, okay? Whenever you saw Baba, you saw the Adulahi. They even wore the same shoes. And Baba said he doesn't want to be the next in line to rule. But it's always those that don't want to be that will be, and those that don't want to, those that want to be that won't be, and those that want to be, no. He said those that want to be won't be, and those that don't want to be will be. And so Baba said his son doesn't want to be the next in line to rule. You know, he said it's Jacob who wants to be the next in line of rule. And it's true because when we were Ansars, Jacob used to run to the front of the masjid to lead prayer all the time. And sometimes we used to get mad and be like, the sisters, of course they didn't know because we were segregated. The women with the women, the men with the men, just like the time in the art of Elijah Muhammad. And this is set up in precedence of our tribe to show respect amongst the men and the women. Because when they mingle together, stuff like this goes down. You understand? Things like this start happening when they mingle together. You understand? This guy's married, and now he's messing around with so-and-so. So in our tribe, and it's like that in Africa as well, we are segregated for a reason. The women with the women, the men with the men, the children with the children, and the women raise the children. At a certain age, the boys are taught by their fathers. This is our way out of the world, out of this disgusting, stinking, nasty, debauchery freaking world where you can't go to the store without seeing some woman with some shorts all the way up her freaking behind, walking around with purple hair. Everybody's forgetting about the children. They making it cute and making it seem like this is a free country. And guess what? The math teacher said, guess what? That's what Caucasians are known for. Let them live like that. But we don't want to live that way. Dr. Melakazi York said, later for 40 acres and a mule, I'm going to get 476 acres. And we're going to build an Egypt from the west. We're going to have an Egyptian park. We're going to imagine what we would have had already if they would not have locked up Dr. Melakazi York. He said later for the 40 acres and a mule, we're going to get big. We're going to do this big. And Dr. Melakazi York would go to Orlando, Florida. He would check out the sites and look at different things to get ideas on what he wanted to build for us on our land, on our holy land. And then it was even in the New York Times where 30,000 people came, people from all over the world. And people began getting jealous, including Jacob York, okay? And Abigail, she's trifling, y'all. She's trifling. Wait till I tell y'all this. I can't wait. I got some tea, and this tea is getting ready to get spilled, okay? So now, Baba's son, Yadulahi, was his next heir. He was the one out of all his children that he said, you know what? This is the one right here. This is the one that I can trust with my mind and to lead on so that I could retire. This is the one that I could trust that ain't going to try to mislead people and take over and act like he's in charge. You understand? This is the one. He had that gift, and Baba was teaching him, sending him overseas to go to school. And he sent other young mu'minoons over school to study in Morocco with him. Because I remember when I was working in the office, and Baba said, yeah, that's Yadulahi. He just called me, and Baba was smiling. Baba said, yeah, he said he wants a Porsche. You know, he wants to show off to the girls down there, you know, because he's a young man, you know. And so Baba thought that was cute, you know, but his son wanted a Porsche, you understand? And so Dr. Melakazi York is a multi-millionaire. He wrote over 1,500 books and tapes and videos. I mean, people was just, I remember Dr. Melakazi York made the pens, those red, black, and green pens with the spear on it, and made so much money from that alone, the incense. I mean, look, he's an intelligent man. And Jacob York was jealous of his brother, okay? Now, this started from when they were young. Jacob York was jealous of his brother. And so now, if you know the story of Jacob and Esau, of course, we know Yadulahi is not a man with a lot of hair on him, but I'm using this symbolically because if you notice who Jacob was in the Bible, he was a very sinister and evil dude, okay? And Esau, you know, he had the birthright. just like Yadulahi had the birthright. And he said to Jacob, look, if I survive this birthright, maybe some of the profit, but right now I will trade anything to live. So he didn't really want to be a leader. He wanted to live his life. He didn't want the responsibilities, but his father had favored Esau, right? And Rebecca, who was Isaac's wife, Rebecca, she felt that Jacob was the one who had the mind, who had the business mind, and that Esau wasn't really that. And she even manipulated her son to work with her to steal Esau's birthright. Okay? So now, the point that I want to make is that because Esau, or let's say Yadulahi, showed that he had little, he said, he mentioned to Jacob that he wasn't really interested in having that title. Jacob felt that, he could manipulate the situation and basically take over. You understand? And so Jacob entered, after he stole Esau's birthright and they made that stew. Y'all know the story. You know, he after Jacob stole Esau's birthright, Jacob tricked his father into giving him the patriarchal blessing instead of giving it to his older brother, which was his twin brother Esau, who was the rightful heir because he was born first. So, and like I said, Rebecca, she as a wife manipulated both of them and when he sent the son out to go make something, a stew for him so he could give him his blessings, Jacob and the mother got together, and you know the story, she got some goat hair because Esau was hairy, and they manipulated the father because he was blind into giving Jacob the birthright. So after Jacob did this, he was basically, he was basically running for his life, because what he did was what he did, he should have died because of that, by disobeying the inheritance rule. He was supposed to have died for that by stealing his brother's birthright. And because the firstborn's double portion was the inheritance was supposed to go to the firstborn. And Jacob, he passed the birthright, then he turned around and passed the birthright on to his sons. But the point I'm trying to make, let me just think, I'm sorry, y'all. I get overexcited because I can't believe this. The thing is, Jacob stole the birthright from his brother. So now, the reason why I had to bring that up is so now, one day, now we back to Jacob and Yadulahi. Jacob goes to a club called The Tunnel. It's on West Side Highway in New York. Very famous tunnel, known DJ Funk Master Flex, all the celebrities. If y'all seen the movie Belly, in the beginning of that movie, that was the club called The Tunnel. I've been there too. The music is popping. They got girls, celebrities, everybody walking. They call it The Tunnel because it's a long, it's like a railroad station inside. It's a back and forth. When you come in, there's a back and then there's a forward. And it has a unisex bathroom. So when you go to the bathroom, you got to tell your homegirl to come in there and hold the door for you, because you see men going in there too. And then they have like a little VIP section when you walk up the steps. Like I said, if you see the movie Belly, that's the movie The Tunnel. Jacob took his brother Yadulahi to the club with him. And Yadulahi got into an argument with a guy over a girl. Now, some people don't know this story, but I know, okay? I'm going to tell you something. When that shooting happened, they shut the club down for a minute, okay? So, but Jacob had his brother with him. I guess in his mind, or maybe he thought, you know what, I'm going to take my brother out and then maybe my father, because he's going, I'll be the next in line to rule. Or I'll steal my brother's birthright by setting him up. And so the guy that took his life is out of prison now. So I don't know what you gonna do about that, Jacob. But the man murdered your brother, okay? And he was with you when it happened. And Yadullah, he wasn't really the type to go to clubs and parties like that. You understand what I'm saying? He wasn't that type of dude. He was influenced by Jacob. So Yadullah, he passed away. You understand? And that hurted a lot of us because we all knew who he was. And we all knew how important he was to the master teacher. Okay? And the thing is, why was he with you when it happened, Jacob York? You was there. You understand what I'm saying? And so that was a sad thing I wanted to bring up about Jacob being a sinster and a sneaky, low-down nigga. Okay? Even in the Bible, he tried to steal his brother's birthright. And then this same Jacob takes his brother somewhere and his brother dies. So is there a coincidence? No. What did the master teacher say? Coincident. Two things happen at the same time. Is it a coincidence that his name is Jacob, his name is Yaqub? And who was Yaqub according to the Nation of Islam and the 5%ers? He was he was the father of the devils, right? He was the father of the Caucasian race, all right? So now I just wanted to let y'all understand that, okay? That he is the reason why his brother's not here today, okay? And that's not Baba's DNA son. Don't believe me? Ask Leah. She received a letter from her father telling Jacob that he's not his son. He's not his DNA son. That's Abby Yaya's. That's Topper's brother. That's not Dr. Malachi Z. York's son. Look at him. That's not his son. Okay? So now, wanted to make sure that was clear. So now, there's some other things I got to get into. Hold on, let me go get my book. I don't want to forget. Oh, here. Now, I want y'all to check this out. Now, this is what happened with Jacob York. He got affiliated with Unentertainment, with Biggie Smalls, Junior Mafia, Little Kim. They all from Brooklyn, Fulton Avenue Street. I know some of them too, because some of the dudes in Junior Mafia was boosters, and I used to boost too. If y'all don't know what a booster is, those are professional shoplifters. They go in stores and they take massive. When I tell you trunk full of clothes, easy for a booster. And that's what boosters did. And then I'm from Brooklyn. Brooklyn is known as Crooklyn, okay? So we don't look at boosting, shoplifting, getting money, hustling. We don't look at that as a crime because we know who we are, just like the mafia did. You know, how they set up their little organizations. We know, especially those of us from Brooklyn, they call Brooklyn, Crooklyn. They call Manhattan, money making Manhattan. They call Queens, Staten Island, Long Island. You know, the rap game is what took a lot of our brothers off the streets. Because if it wasn't for the rap game, a lot of them would be in prison. Because a lot of the rappers were selling drugs. And our ancestors wanted to figure out a way how to get them off the street. So they created rap, which started in the Bronx. Okay? And rap, what that did was give opportunities for our men, women, and children to get out of that lifestyle and get our people off the crack. Because if you want to get people off the crack, you got to lock up the dealers. That's how you get people off the crack, is by locking the dealers up, okay? So what our ancestors did, instead of having our men in prison, they got them off the streets by opening up a doorway to the music industry, okay? And so, yeah, we know they do a lot of killing, a lot of Biggie Smalls lyrics is disgusting. It's not something that you would want your children listening to, but it did get our men off the streets, okay? I mean, it did get our men out of prison and our women off, the men and women and our people off of the crack. So now, what happened with Jacob York was when he got into the music industry, he did a Billboard release. And I never forget when this happened back in the day. Everybody was talking about it because, see, one thing about Brooklyn, word get around, especially to all the hustlers. So somebody was like, yo, Biggie Smalls, they little crew, they getting ready to fall because of this billboard. And I was like, what you mean a billboard? They was like, it's in Harlem. I was like, what you mean? They said this dude put a billboard up with a basketball player. Instead of having a basketball, he had a gun and something, I don't know, it was something, a gun shaped like a basketball. And they said, and he was using the NBA logo with Cameron, promoting Cameron. And he got in trouble for that, okay? And he had to take that billboard down. He had to pay a large fine. And then some other things went down where he caught a federal case, all right? So when instead of him going to jail, he didn't want to go to jail, he cooperated with the government because, see, what the feds do, especially if they know you, because as you know, the government has set up a squad to watch rappers like P. Diddy, Biggie, and all of them. So they had these undercover police officers that would go to the clubs. They would act like they was, you know how they do. You seen New York Undercover? They or New Jack City. They would pretend that they was with us, but they really was working for the government, just like they do to us in this tribe. You got black people in this tribe that work for the government, and their job is to make sure that Dr. Melakazi York don't get out of there, and that we don't rise up as a people. They do it to every organization. You've seen it in the movie Belly. It happens all the time. We ain't exempt from that, okay? So what happened was Jacob had got in trouble, and he got in trouble with the feds. And so what the feds do is when you got a big case, right? When you get locked up and you got a big case, and they know people, they try to get you to snitch. They say, tell us what we want to know, and we can get you out of here. And you be like, what? Yeah, tell us what you want to know. What do you mean? And in your mind, you like, okay, you locking me up, telling me to tell you what you want to know. That means you don't know nothing. So guess what? I'm going to keep my mouth shut. But Jacob didn't do that. You see, he's a rat. What he did was he said, listen, I can help you set up a lot of people, because I know a lot of people in the industry. He started talking and they let him go. Okay? And so now he was on payroll, because in order for him to work for the feds, they got to get him money, right? It's called a 5K1. Look it up, all right? Because I had a roommate named Rose. I forgot her last name. Jamaican girl. She got a 5K1, and they took the 5K1 back because she lied. And they found out she lied because they locked somebody else up, one of her co-conspirators, and the co-conspirator told the truth, and she got in trouble. They took back that 5K1. She had to do, like, I think 12 years or something like that. She was going to get 5 years, I think. I don't know. But listen, the government, when they catch you, the first thing they want to do, if you're important, if they watch you, the first thing they want to do is make a deal with you. And that's what Jacob did. And that's why little Kim, in 2005, she was sentenced to 1 year and a day for lying. There was something that happened, and she got on a witness stand and lied and said, no, I don't know. No, that's not what happened, or whatever. And then Jacob, of course, he knew about it. And he knew about it, and he told the government, and that's how she got locked up. Then another one of his artists got locked up, Gucci Mane, right? Gucci Mane was out there hustling, doing his thing. He got into an argument. He was making his money in the music industry. He was getting ready to leave the music industry with Jacob. Jacob got into some beef, and he was outside, and he had a firearm on him, and the police said somebody called and told them that he had a firearm. Now, this is how you know that Jacob was the one that snitched on him. Because if you get caught with a firearm, you in the middle of the street and you arguing with somebody, and you get arrested for a firearm, the only way it's a federal case is if you on government property. If you're in front of a courthouse, or you in front of the post office, you have to be on federal property in order for you to have a federal gun charge, okay? You have to be indicted by the government. So that's how you know that he told on Gucci Mane. So he snitched on Gucci Mane. He snitched on Little Kim. And then he set Dr. Melakazi York up. Okay, now, let's get to this story. Now, first of all, if you look right here, I got it says, second Nawabian recant testimony. See, it was in the Covington News. You see? United States District Attorney attorneys are suffering their second setback in less than 2 weeks in the case against Malachi York, highly publicized figure, head of the United Nuwaubian Nation of Moors. After a second important witness, an alleged victim, has come forward to recant earlier testimonies that York molested her. And a video recording that was on Monday afternoon had been released only to the Covington News. Samia Jamila Ellis is one of the 14 alleged victims listed to original York's indictment, recanted her original allegations to the FBI that she was molested by York as a juvenile. So now, this was in a newspaper. See, they all started coming back saying, yo, this is a lie. Now, let me say this to you all, okay? Why is Leah and Uma York on my wall? Because when Jacob York came up with the plan to set his father up, he got with Leah, he got with Care, and he got with a few others. And you'll hear Uma York talk about this place called the Buttercup Lounge. And he said, listen, he told Uma York, come on, I'll get you a Benz. I'll get you a Mercedes. He said that to all of them. This is him right here. Jacob York with a Tatiana Thomas in Florida. See, they all went to Florida. You see, this is Abigail right here. Okay, I was going to curse. Let me stop. This chick is on Hulu, lying, saying she escaped the cult. But here you go right here, right? You went to South Beach, Florida, and you lied and said that y'all all needed to go there together so y'all could make sure the story line up, because you could go to jail for perjury, right? So now, let me show y'all something. Hold on, because I got her affidavit right here. I want y'all to see this. This says, Affidavit of Abigail, Habiba, Washington, see? And I want y'all to see the signature on the back. This is hers, all right? April 23rd, 2004. Let me read to you what she says. She said, I'm 28 years of age and reside in Brooklyn, New York. I make this affidavit of my own free will. No one has threatened or coerced me to make it, nor have I been offered anything of value in return for making this affidavit. I understand that in light of my previous testimony and my statement to federal agents and assistant U.S. attorney, I can be prosecuted for perjury and other crimes. In spite the risk, hold on. In spite of the risk I'm putting myself in, I am prepared to make this affidavit in order to make up for my previous perjury. She said she lied, okay? Here it is right here. She said for her previous perjury, she lied. So how you gonna go in here and say you escaped the code? Hold on, y'all. Let me take this thing off, because I got something I gotta say to y'all. Hold on. Because I want you to see my face, Abigail, because I know you. Hold on. I know you watching. And I know all of y'all Banats from the community, from the Ansar law community are watching. And some of y'all that used to live in the community, you don't remember me because you don't have a good memory. That's all. But I lived in the Ansar law community. Let me say this, y'all. First of all, Abigail, as you can see in her affidavit, she says she went to Brooklyn, right? Because she's from Brooklyn. Her father, Yusuf, is from Brooklyn. I know her aunt named Gail. She was named after her father's sister named Gail. Her aunt used to do the 3-card Molly, which was really a scam because they'd be like the red, the black. The red would get you the bread. Hold on, let me sit this up here. Okay. They would do this thing called 3-card Molly, right? Excuse me. And what they would do is they would take the cards and flip them like this. And they used to be like, the red will get you the bread, the black will set you back. The red card, find a red card. Seaside. So they're telling the person who's with them, who you think is a stranger, that this pick Seaside ABC. Pick that one. He's letting them know the money, the red card is there. And she said, I see it. And they clap their hands and they put their money there. And they go, yeah, I won. Really, they all working together. And it was a big thing on Fifth Avenue in Manhattan. They used to go, 'cause that's where all the rich Caucasians are, right? So their mother was a hustler. Her cousins and all of them were hustlers. And her father, Yusuf Washington, right? What's his real name? Um, I forgot what his real name is. But her father lived in the Ansar community, right? And she wanted to be Dr. Melikazi York's wife so bad. She kept asking her father, I want to get in, I want to be his wife. Because her plot in her mind was, I'm going to take over. I'm going to take over. I'm going to be the best everything. I'm going to take over. That's what, listen, I want you all to remember what I just read. Okay? You're talking to a woman, all right? You're talking to a woman that not only lived in the Ansar law community, but I've lived with women. When I was in the feds, I seen them. Listen, I've lived with women. I've been around women for many years, okay? And even in high school, junior high school, I didn't hang out with dudes. You understand? There was a time that I did, but it was all business for money. You understand? But let me tell you something. Women, a lot of them are freaking gold diggers. And when they see a man that got a Benz, a nice car, even though they're young, they don't care. They're going to do what they can do to get in by any means necessary. And that's what she did. She told her father, and her father was like, and then y'all would look at it, okay, well, what was Dr. York doing with a girl at that age? First of all, I wish I had a picture to show y'all. Dr. York looked very young. Even though he was 40, he looked like he was 27. He was a young-looking, very wealthy man. So y'all got to get that out your head about, oh, he shouldn't have been doing this. Because look, man, the women that I know, the women that I saw when I lived in the community, that's what they wanted. They wanted to be with Dr. York, just like Jay-Z was up for grabs at one time as a celebrity, and all these other rappers and these singers. And look, man, this is the nature of a woman, and y'all men got to get that through, and y'all women got to get that through your head. Women, that is the nature of a woman. When the Jackson 5 was real, please, them girls was screaming, crying, ready to knock the bus down. Michael Jackson was getting scared, and the father was like, oh my God, this is like the Beatles, this is crazy. Women lose their mind. I'm telling you what I know. When they see a wealthy man, he handsome, and he got that look, like he know what to do with a woman, they will go all out of their way. They don't care if he married. They don't care how many women he got. They don't care. Get that out of your head. Because see, I'm going to tell you something. Excuse me. I'm going to tell you something about the Caucasian race. Check this out. Right? They will make these rules and regulations and say that a man marry a wife and just be with this one woman for the rest of his life and never look at another. But behind closed doors, please, they doing calls to whores and prostitutes to do things with them that they won't ashamed to do in front of their wife. They have all these fetishes and stuff like that, and things that they want women to do to them or men. You understand what I'm saying? And they pretend in front of the crowd, like these politicians do, like they're so good. You know, this is the Brady Bunch. This is the Partridge Family. They put all this stuff in your mind when you know that is not the nature of a man. That is not the nature of a man to be with one woman and never ever look at another. That ain't real, especially an African man. African women are beautiful. They're shapely. They don't have flat butts like Caucasian women do, even though some of them getting shots now. And from mixing, they got little butts now. They got little tushes now. You understand what I'm saying? This society was created for harlots. And Dr. Melikazi York did his best to get us out of this world and tried to build a land so we didn't have to live under the Caucasian Europeans' rules and regulations where they don't respect children. Okay? So now, Abigail wanted to be with Dr. York, not just her. Listen, there are women right now. And don't make me freaking expose you because I will. There are women right now in this tribe that are grooming their daughters so when Dr. Melikazi York get out, they can be with him. They want to get in the family some kind of way. Okay? I don't know why. I'm not that kind of woman. So I don't know why. You understand? Because I've never saw a man and looked at him and saw it and was like, oh, I'm going to try to squeeze my way. No, I like, look, I'm a woman. I'm a lady. If a man is interested in me, he's going to have to show interest in me. He's going to have to show interest in me. And, it would have to be like how it's supposed to be. Not me pursuing a man, even though we do subtly get the men that we want. But, like, what Abigail did was trifling, man. Because she got with Baba. She became his mate. She started working in the office. She started excelling. She started recruiting other women, right? Because in her mind, I'm about to take over. And then what happened was Baba's son, Muhammad, very handsome young man, big afro. And I mean, all the girls wanted Muhammad, all of them, just like it was with Baba. They all wanted Muhammad. Look, one day we was having a meeting in Athens, and I was sitting in a car talking to somebody. I was parked talking to somebody, and we were getting ready to get out. And he came walking, and it was about at least, no exaggeration, at least 8 to 12 girls walking with him. I said, wow, man, he got that spirit of his father, These girls was just all over Muhammad. They couldn't, and it wasn't a bad thing. That's just the nature of women, of young girls. I was talking to someone the other day because Nia Long had made a statement on Instagram, and she said that when she was 17, that she was dating a 30-year-old man. And she told her mother about it. Her mother said, well, you can love who you want to love, baby. And I was reading the comments, and everybody was like so disgusted. And I'm like, listen, do you know how many friends that I had in school that was sexually active? Young. I'm talking about, look, fast freaking girls. Some girls are fast, some girls ain't fast. I wasn't one of them. I had a fight with a girl named Lynette Battles because we cut school one day. I was in the 10th. I was in 11th grade because I dropped out with that year. But she invited me. She said, let's cut school. I was like, yeah, all right. She said, yeah, I'm going to call my boyfriend, and he's going to bring his friend, and we're going to hang out at my house. I was like, all right, yeah. And she lived down a block from me. So I was like, yeah, and then from your house, I could just go home like I'm coming home from school. And went to our house, and her and the guy went in the room, and the other guy said to me, come on, take off your clothes. I said, what? I said, I'm a virgin. He was like, what? So what you doing here? I said, what do you mean? What am I doing here? I'm looking at this dude like, y'all don't even know you. You understand? But I'm telling you now, and a lot of you men know what I'm saying is true. There are girls that are young. They're developed, and they are fast. They see a guy, and sometimes they lie about their age, and they want to be with an older guy. And a lot of women are not going to admit this to you all because they want to pretend they're so good. They want to pretend they don't know what a penis looks like. They want to pretend that they're these virgins and these high class, well, I've only had such and such amount of guys in my life. Come on, man. That's a lie. I know a whole lot of girls. And please, when I was in the feds, I lost my respect for women. My respect for women went like this. The things that they used to do to get the guards to look at them, roll their pants up, wearing real tight, come out the shower with their t-shirts on, with their nipples hard, wrapped with towels wrapped around their head, especially them Latino girls. I was like in the showers with each other, fighting each other, sleeping with each other. It was disgusting, man. I had lost my respect for women as a species. I really did, man. I was so disappointed because I thought, that saying we say men are dogs. It's not true. Y'all got to get this thing out of your mind and stop letting some racist freaking pig like Sheriff Sills and all these freaking pale freaking Europeans put this stuff in our mind about our men and how, when a woman is ready and when she ain't ready, but behind closed doors, they kidnapping children. And I'm not saying that it's okay for a man to look at a child like that. I'm talking about teenagers. I'm talking about 17, 18, 19, 20-year-olds. And some even younger than that I grew up with that was sleeping around, having sex. They were not virgins. They had babies at young ages. My mother wasn't having it. Abigail wanted to be with Dr. Malachi Z. York. She wanted to be in his family, and she begged her father to be with him. And then as time went on, when Baba's son Muhammad came on the land, everybody wanted Muhammad. All the girls started going crazy over Muhammad, and she wanted Muhammad. Same thing happened back in the Ansar days with Baba's son Ishmael. All the girls wanted Ish. You understand? They didn't care. They wanted him. All right? And so what happened was Abigail wanted to be with Dr. Malachi Z. York's son Muhammad. And Baba said, what? You got 2 children with me. How is that going to look? You going to be with my son? You know? And that started. And that day, one of the sisters that was on Tamaray, who used to live in Florida with me, Ahmos' mother, Ahmos York, his mother, said that when Abigail did that, she used to be playing with Muhammad, going, don't touch my feet. Look at my feet. Putting her feet on him and everything, flirting with Muhammad. And Baba, when he usually leaves the land to go out, he usually takes somebody to drive him. She said this day he left by himself. That he was, uncomfortable about that, and he went for a ride and left by himself, I guess, to get his mind together. Baba's a very intelligent man, so I'm pretty sure he's foreseeing something even more serious than what it was, than what was on the surface. You understand? And so that's what happened. That's how the beef started between Baba and Abigail. They had a goddamn thing to do with you talking about you tried to escape and how he said you're not going nowhere and those other stuff. Let me tell you something, another thing that they lied about. Because I lived in the community. When we were growing up as children, back in the days, there was no cell phones. The phone booth was right on the corner. If you wanted to make a phone call, you could go put a quarter or a dime, because they was 10 cents back then. You could put a dime in the telephone booth and make a phone call. There was never no gates holding us in. Everybody that became a member of Dr. Malachi Z. York's organization, tribe, we all came voluntarily. Like me, this is all voluntarily. He's in prison. I am voluntarily devoting my services to free Dr. Malachi Z. York voluntarily. I'm not being forced, brainwashed. Matter of fact, they stop his writing privileges. He can only write 7 people. And I'm not one of them. Okay? So I am not being forced, brainwashed, even though I would like my brains to be washed and clean from the filth of this nasty freaking society. Especially New York. New York smell like piss city. Anybody that's ever been to New York, you are in piss city. It smells like piss is just coming out all over the grounds, everywhere. Rats everywhere. Bums everywhere. Derelicts everywhere. Dudes pull it out and urinate anywhere in New York. Because it's not a crime to be a public bum. So Malachi York developed an environment, wrote his books to get his people up out of the mentality of the European so that we could succeed living for of and by each other. And niggas like Abigail ruined it. You understand? She was reading a book called Butterfly, and she was reading another book called Conspiracy, and these books was about overthrowing a reverend, how these girls got together to overthrow a reverend. So that's letting you know that was in her mind already. And yeah, I know Baba said that when she came into court to testify on him, that he saw her, and she looked at him and he looked at her. Look, I would not want to be in her shoes. Because let me tell you something. If I looked at Baba and I lied on him, and I was in court, and I had to face him, a man that I saw call crafts out the sky, a man that I saw transform in front of me, and now I'm sitting here with some Celtics in a courtroom full of Caucasians, pink freaking faces, pigs. I'm sitting here lying on the master teacher. Listen, man, I know when she seen Baba's face, I know she was like, I know. And that's why she recanted, right? Not because she was afraid, because she knows him. on, you got 2 children with him. She knows he's the real deal. You can front all you want to, Abigail. All of y'all can front all you want to. Y'all know that Baba is the savior and the man of the hour in this day and time. All right? I saw him transform in front of me. I see him go in the office. He was gone for a while. He came back. It was somebody else. And I ain't talking about, look, I'm not talking about he did some magic act. No. Somebody else was inside of him. Okay? And I knew it. It was El Cook. I said, oh my gosh. I looked, he gave everybody a York pepper and patty. I grabbed it real fast and ate it because I was like, this is probably from some other galaxy or something. I was like, yo, this is crazy. I was like, oh my God, so many miracles, so many things. No one could ever make me turn my face away from Panabab Yanun. He is the savior this day and time. So when Abigail went to court and she sat in that courtroom and looked at Baba, she knew that she had to do something about it, and she was willing to recant. And she told Baba's daughter, Hajar, told me that Abigail said, I know that because she had, you only get 3 years for perjury, Abigail. You would only got 3 years, and you would have went to the camp. You would have went to the best camp that they got, because Baba would have paid for a lawyer to make sure that you went to the best place. You would have been in the feds. You would have been getting visits. You would have went to a camp, and guess what? It would have been over, sis. We would have took care of your children. But what happened was Dale Elaine Brown, Waukee, Joe, Robbie, Rochelle York, Baba's daughter Hajar, and Nefu Amenhotep and all of them started getting her head, and they made her reek. Okay, first she said he didn't do it and she told the truth. Then she got scared and went back and said he did it again. You understand? So it's like, first you saying he didn't do it, now you saying that he did it. Then you saying he didn't do it, now you saying that he did it. Okay, so now check this out. So now Jacob set this whole thing up. Jacob needed Abigail because he couldn't do it alone. He needed her. And so what Abigail did was, let's go to the wall. She went and got a whole bunch of people together. And this is the little crew. They got together and they see her right there. That's her right there. And that's all of them who lied. That's Nicole right there. And there go Abigail. I don't know who that is. But they was in South Beach, Florida. Now, there goes Tatiana. Now, the thing is this. You would think, why would Jacob York take them to South Beach, Florida? If any of y'all ever been to South Beach, Florida, it ain't nothing but... Look, everybody walking around there like it's the land of Nod. Nobody got clothes on. All you see is a whole strip of restaurants. And it seemed like, I was out there because that one of Baba's attorneys that I was trying to get on board was not far from Ocean Drive. I said, oh my gosh. I was like, this is I seen a man out there with some stockings. He had on some spandex stocking shorts. They would see through with his penis. He had a piercing in his penis. He had piercings in his nipples. And his nipples was looking like breasts, like female breasts. They was hanging. And they was just out there with flip-flops on like it was nothing. I was like, man, here he go right here. Here go Jacob York right here. With Ada, with his middle finger up. Look at her, talking about she escaped the cult. No, sis, you wanted to be with Baba. You wanted to be with him. Now, let's get to the other. Look how many affidavits I got. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now, there were 13 witnesses, right? So what's 8 subtract from 13? It's 5, right? So that means that there was only 5 other people left. Let's read these. Family. This is from Samia Jamila Ellis, duly sworn. And this is her signature on April 2004. This is a public notary, all right, with her signature. And of course, you can't read it, so I'm going to read it for you. I'm not going to read everything, but I just want you to see. This is what she said. My name is Samia Jamila Ellis. I am 18 years of age, and reside in Athens, Georgia. No, I think she was 16. Yeah, 16. I make this affidavit of my own free will. No one is threatening or forcing me to make it. She says it was May the 16th. She said I was at school in my last period, and I was called to go to a counselor's office about an hour before it was time to leave school. I went to the counselor's office. In the rooms, there were three other people, and they asked me, and they wanted to talk to me, and I didn't know what it was about. And I went to the room, and they told me this is between me and them, and not to say anything to anybody. Don't tell my mother. Now, first of all, that's illegal. All right. So they kept me in a room for as long as I wanted to leave. She said she wanted to leave because she was scared, and I told them what they wanted because I was afraid of the part when the lady was telling me, you're about to go to jail. See, she said that they threatened her, to Miller Ellis. Now let's get to another one. Here's another witness, Ebony Hill. Let's see what she says. Ebony says, and this is her affidavit. Here it is signed on March the 6th, 2011. Okay, this is what Ebony said. She said, I being first duly sworn and being competent to testify and having personal knowledge of the facts herein states as follow. My name is Ebony Hill. I was born February 3rd, 1977. I make this affidavit of my own free will. No one has threatened or coerced me. All right? I want to speed it up. I'm here affirming that my testimony at the federal criminal trial of Malachi Z. York versus Dwight York, case number 502 CR 27 CAR was false, especially in the part of my personal sexual activity or relations with Mr. York and my witnessing Mr. York having sexual activity or relations with other children. I deny having sexual relations or activity with Mr. York when I was 13 or 14 years of age while in upstate New York or Nubia, or as we called it. I completely deny having sexual relationships or relations or activity with Mr. York in the state of New York. I deny witnessing Mr. York having sexual relations or activity with any minors at any time, whether it was New York or Georgia. This includes the persons I named that I witnessed him having sexual relationships and activity in New York, including Sakina Parham, Nicole Lopez, and Chandra Lampkin. I deny having sexual relations or activity with Mr. York while I was under 17 years of age. She said, I deny having sexual relations or activity with Mr. York at Disney World. The reason I testified untruthfully against Mr. York at trial is because the law enforcement agents threatened me, saying that I abandoned my son. I was also afraid of going to jail because the FBI said that my name was involved in some serious things. So I was scared of losing my child and intimidated by the FBI. I just went along with their story of Malachi being a child molester. Do y'all see that? She said, I just went along with their story of Malachi York being a child molester. The FBI agents also knew that I was involved with a convicted felon and used my past involvement with the convicted felon to compel me to lie. I did not want to go to jail, nor did I have an attorney present, nor did I know my rights. I did not feel comfortable, and I feel that anyone in my situation would have done the same thing. I came forth with my allegations because I was afraid that I would be prosecuted for neglect. The community, Nawapians, and other mothers of children on the land at 44 Shadydale Road were saying that all persons were involved and did not come forward to help were going to be prosecuted for neglect of their children. And look, this was the 27th day of April 2009, and it expires on the 6th of March. This is Ebony Hills. You can see the public notary in Henry County, Georgia. All right? So that's the second one. No, that's the third one. I just showed y'all with Abigail. That's 9. Abigail makes the 9th one. Let's read Abdul Salam LaRoche. because he's another one that they used in court to lie on Dr. Malachi Z. York. This is what Abdul Salam says. Being first duly sworn and being competent to testify and having personal knowledge of the facts herein states. My name is Abdul Salam LaRoche. I was born March 20th, 1984. I make this affidavit of my own free will. No one has threatened or coerced me to make it, blah, blah, blah. I'm hereby affirming that the majority of my testimony at the federal criminal trial of Dwight York, Malachi York, was false, specifically in the area of my personal sexual activity. I'm also stating that I did not engage in any type of sexual activity with Mr. York, including oral sex and anal sex. Nor did I witness Mr. York engage in sexual activity or any inappropriate sexual behavior with any minors or adults. I deny that Khadijah McCullough Merritt performed any oral sex on me in the presence of Mr. York when I was about 13, nor did I witness any sexual activity between Mr. York and Khadijah McCullough Merritt in Eaton, Georgia. I deny that Mr. York performed anal sex on me at any time. I also deny any sexual relations between myself, Khadijah Merritt, in the presence of Mr. York at any time. I deny having or witnessing any sexual relationships with Mr. York involving the people I named at trial, including Issa Johnson and Khadijah Merritt on 404 Shadydale Road in Eatonton, Georgia. If y'all don't know what 404 Shadydale Road, that was the property that Dr. York was turning into an Egyptian theme park. I deny having witnessing any sexual relations with Mr. York involving the people I named at trial. That's what he says. So I deny having any sexual activity with Mr. York, inclusive of all inappropriate acts, including sex or oral sex in Athens, nor with any person or the people that I named in my testimony, including Crystal Harden, Khadijah Merritt, and Nicole Husner. I affirm that the reason I testified falsely against Malachi York and others after mentioned is because I was told that I had to go along with the stories as everyone else did. FBI Jaylene Ward told me, and I quote, other people have already came forth and we already know what happened, and it's best that you do the same. He says, at this point, I felt alone and scared and went along with the stories. Again, at this point, I felt alone and scared and went along with the stories. FBI Jaylene Ward gave me even with the stories FBI Jaylene Ward gave me, even though I repeatedly stated that I never was molested or sexually abused by Mr. York or anyone. I was pressured by the FBI agent, Jaylene Ward, who then told me that I would be okay if I just cooperate with stories of molestation that I had no knowledge of. I also affirmed that I had several interviews with FBI agent Richard Moultrie to make sure my stories matched with others. Again, line 10, I also affirmed that I had several interviews with FBI agent Richard Moultrie to make sure my stories match with others. Okay? He said, I'm coming forth now to put the truth on record. I'm no longer afraid of hiding the truth behind the conspiracy of Malachi York. I felt I went wrong in attesting to these false allegations, and I go on record stating that I never saw any type of child molestation involving Malachi York. All right? This is signed and notary, but I can't see the date because it looks, this was in the 21st of November, 2008. All right, y'all? Come on now. Let's see what this person had to say. Hanan Merritt. Let's see what Hanan had to say. Hanan said, my name is Hanan Merritt. I was born October 26, 1988. And I just want to go on to the part where she said, I affirm that on May 8, 2002, I was interviewed by federal agents Mary Mangrum and Lisa Speaker, who questioned me about Malachi Z. York, which I told them I never met because I was out of my mind and guns were pointing at me. I thought I was going to die and I told them anything. Look at what she says. I'm affirming that on May 8th, 2002, I was interviewed by federal agents Mary Mangrum and Lisa Speaker, who questioned me about Melakazi York, of which I told them that I never met because I was out of my mind and guns were pointed at me. I thought I was going to die, and I told them anything. I'm also affirming on May 8, 2002, after being interviewed, I was stripped away from my family. Sella Eddington, Husna Evans, Hesna Evans, Issa Johnson, and myself, all minors, were taken by strangers to a small house in Millersville, Georgia, without our parents' consent. I'm being intimidated and scared and threatened, was interrogated by federal agents, being told by them that they know I was molested. Although I denied the allegations, they continued to badger me. They repeatedly told me that I was molested and covering up for Mr. York, alleging that he claimed that he was going to kill me. I'm writing this to state that I was badgered, threatened, and coerced by the federal agents in attempts to make statements against Melakazi York that were not true. Hanan Merrick. Look, y'all, this was in 2009. Signed by a notary public, y'all. Come on, man. This is freaking crazy, man. They put an innocent man in prison. Here's another one, Sakina Wood. Look what she said. She said, my name is Sakina Wood. I was born February the 3rd, 1982. I make this affidavit of my own free will. No one has threatened me or coerced me to make it, nor have I been offered anything of value. I'm prepared to make this affidavit in order to tell the truth and let it be known. I, Sakina Wood, did reside at the property at 404 Shadydale Road from 1994 to 2004. I have known Dr. Melakazi York most of my life, and I'm stating for the record that Dr. Melakazi York never molested, raped, inappropriately touched me, or abused me sexually. Wait a minute, where's the part? In any way, nor did I see or witness Dr. Melakazi York molest, rape, or perform any sexual activity with any minors or persons. I'm hereby affirming that I was interviewed by FBI agent, here go Jaylene Ward again, Jaylene Ward on May 8, 2002, and also two other agents were present. FBI agent Sally Hensia and FBI agent Tracy Bradford. Jaylene Ward asked me several questions pertaining to my knowledge of Mr. York and acts of sexual molestation, which I told him I had no knowledge. Jaylene Ward asked me the same questions repeatedly. My answers was consistent and truthful. I had no knowledge of any sexual molestation, rape, inappropriate touching, or sexual abuse. Jaylene Ward then told me, I quote, well, Sakina, you know, you're not saying this now, but sooner or later it will come out because Mr. York is never coming out. Meanwhile, the other agents, Sally Hensish, and Tracy Bradford, had their guns in my face. Yo, this is freaking crazy. They told me that if I did not comply with their allegations, I would go to jail, at which point I felt pressured. I also want to state for the record that FBI agent Jaylene Ward subpoenaed me outside of the courthouse in Brunswick, Georgia. She stated, and I quote, get on the right side. You see that? That's how them freaking feds talk, too. They always be trying to get you to go. Why don't you get on our side? Get on the right side. Now, here's Issa, Kathy Johnson's son. He says, first, being duly sworn and being competent to testify, having personal knowledge of the facts, states the following. My name is Issa Michael Johnson. I was born September 11th, 1988. I make this affidavit of my own free will. No one has threatened or coerced me to make it, nor have I offered anything of value in return. I'm prepared to make this affidavit in order to tell the truth. He said, I'm Issa Johnson, stating for the record that Dr. Malachi York never molested, raped, inappropriately touched me, or abused me sexually in any way, nor did I see him or witness Malachi York molest, rape, or perform any sexual activity with any minors or persons upstate New York called Nubia. So then he goes on to say, he says it again, it never happened in Georgia. I'm affirming in June 2003 that he was in the custody of DFACS, Department of Children and Family Services, under the care of Miss Eileen Burke. I was picked up from school by Jana Wydell, and I asked where was I going, and she replied, you have to visit with Richard Moultrie. I told repeatedly that I not want to see him. I was told that it was not up to me. I told the FBI, Richard Moultrie, that I did not want to talk to him, that I was not molested by Mr. York or anyone else. And he said that I need to make these statements. Then Agent Richard Moultrie then reminded me that my mother, Kathy Johnson, was incarcerated. And if I cooperated and made certain statements and accusations, that he could get my mother out of prison and not mention her name in trial. Richard Moultrie wanted me to exchange false statements for this favor. I considered lying and telling them what they wanted to hear to help my mother, even though I felt compelled to go along with the stories. I repeatedly said I was never molested. There were several alleged victims named Crystal, Hardin, Belura, Amala Noel, sent federal agents to get me to falsify, testify against Malachi York and Kathy Johnson. Crystal told me that she couldn't wait to get her money from this trial. See? They set Dr. York up, y'all. He said when I didn't keep up with my end of the deal at the Malachi trial, at the Malachi York, the trial of Malachi York, testify honestly, FBI agent Moultrie mentioned my mother's name anyway. And his last question to me during trial, he asked, your mother's Kathy Johnson, right? No further questions, Your Honor. He was trying to threaten him and say, ain't your mother named Kathy? Because he didn't lie on the witness stand. Y'all, this is the last one I'm going to read. And then I got some other things I got to tell y'all about these devils. Okay? This is Tardik Noel. This is the one who be with, he be on the, he be on that, what's that man, Sinetta? He be talking, lying. But first he said this. He said, my name is Tardik Noel. I was born October 25th, 1985. I made this affidavit of my own free will. No one has threatened or coerced me to make it, nor have I ever offered anything of value in return for making this affidavit. I'm prepared to make this affidavit in order to tell the truth to let it be known. He said, I deny having sexual involvement with Mr. York in upstate York at the age of 7 or any age. I deny having watched or seen pornographic cartoons or inappropriate adult material with Mr. York or any adult, specifically Chandra Lampkin, Nejla, at any time. I deny being involved in any sexual activity, witnessing any inappropriate behavior with Mr. York or any adults as I testified in court, specifically Kathy Johnson, Chandra Lampkin, or Khadijah Merritt McCullough while living in Eatonton, Georgia. I deny having witnessing any sexual intercourse, including oral or anal involved Khalid Eddington, Eddie, Issa Johnson, Abdul Salam, with Mr. York, Kathy Johnson, Chandra Lampkin, Nejla, or Khadijah Merritt McCullough. I testified falsely against Malachi York, Kathy Johnson, Chandra Lampkin, Nejla, Khadijah Merritt McCullough for several reasons. The main reason was the threats made against me by FBI agent Joan Cronier and FBI agent Richard Moultrie. I was told by Joan Cronier that if I denied the allegations, that my mother would be incarcerated for fraud. Wow, y'all. So, I want to say something. Hold on, let me go back to this wall. 1 minute. So here's this freaking devil, Sheriff, this pink freaking man, Sheriff Sills, right? He gets these girls and these because Jacob went to him first, right? Jacob went to Abigail first. Then after he went to Abigail, then he went to Sheriff Sills because he knew that this man was racist and that he hated Dr. Malachi York. You understand? Come on, look at him, y'all. Can't y'all tell? This man's a freaking devil. So when Sheriff Sills didn't go along, when he couldn't get us He wanted to get rid of Dr. Malachi York, because of what he was building on the land, because of the monuments. And they kept trying to come up with these fake zoning laws and attacking them and taking them to court and, just harassing the Nawapians. When Dr. York moved to Athens, Georgia, he came to Athens, stalking him, harassing him, hating him because of what he was doing for black people in Putnam County, Georgia. I mean, they basically turned that town, brought a lot of money into the town. They opened up a new Walmart. Things started moving, and they was just getting jealous. So Jacob got these girls together, all of them, right, to lie on Dr. Malachi York and say that he molested them. And that's how this whole thing started, okay? Dr. Malachi York is an innocent man. He was put in prison by Jacob York. Jacob York was on payroll. He worked for the feds. And so what happened was, when he got into trouble and he had to pay that fine for making that billboard, he got upset and went to his father for money and was like, dog, they're going to lock, I gotta pay this off. I'm going to go to my father. And his father said, no, I'm not giving you no money to support no little Kim. He was like, you know what I'm about? I'm not about all of this. And he was like, but I'm just saying, no, I'm going to pay you back. I'm going to blow up the... And then Dr. York told him, what you going to do when Biggie died? He told him that. He refused to listen to his father. He got mad. And then when he went back home, his mother... First of all, let me tell you a little story about what I know about them. Hold on, y'all. I got to tell y'all this. Okay. Jacob's mother, her name was Zubaydah. So she was upset when Dr. York, the women in his life, they didn't want to live in our culture anymore. They was losing interest in him and a whole lot of other things. And they left, right? And Dr. York was left with the women that wanted to be in his life, that wanted to help print the books, help establish things in the community. And it's very beautiful. I'll lie to you not. A very good feeling. But us all being together, working together. And we all fall in ranks, just like when you go to a job. There's corporate, executive, And Jacob York's mother was upset when he got with Abigail. When she found out, she was upset. She was like, how could he? I raised that girl. I remember when she was a young girl, blah, blah, blah. And she was upset, right? And, women have a way of turning their children against putting things in their children's head. So she, just like Jacob in the Bible, Rebecca, his mother, put things in his head to steal she helped him steal his brother's birthright. His mother, Zubaydah, whose name is Dorothy, she did the same thing. She put this stuff in his head and was complaining about Baba, complaining about Dr. York, complaining about this and that, and oh, he ruined my life, and all these other things that parents feel when they're still in love, but they're still in love, or they still love that person, but things didn't work out the way they wanted to. Like my mother did with my father. She was always talking about him all the time. I was like, oh my God. And I didn't let my mother put that in my head because I was smart. I knew, And so then shortly after this happened, he was mad that he didn't get the money. He was upset about a whole lot of things that was happening with his life. You know how people do. They want to blame others for their mistakes or the way their life is. You understand? He was molesting children. Jacob York was molesting children, little boys. Okay? He was having anal sex with them. And when his father found out, he kicked him out. Okay? So wherever he went, whatever happened, because he moved in with Care and her sister Leah. They were all living together. And Leah's mother was the one who told me that Zubaydah, or Dorothy Johnson, was upset and said, how could he? You understand? And Care's mother told me that Baba, Dr. Malachi York, called her one day and said, don't be turning my children against me. It said, send my kids down here. And she sent her children to be with their father, Mahmoud, Leah, and Umkir. They all went on the land. Because Bible's like, he don't need, I guess he had a dream. I don't know how he knew. Well, I know how he knew. And so Jacob's mother died from an aneurysm. After she died from the aneurysm, he blamed Dr. Malachi York for her death. Okay? And so what happened after that was he wanted to kill him. He wanted his father dead. So he got with Abigail and said, hold on. He got with Abigail and said, listen, I want to kill him. We should go on the land and go kidnap all the kids. He was playing mind games with her, making her think that he wants to save the children. First of all, nigga, you got kicked out for raping the children. So how you gonna save children that are not safe in your hands? You should be glad that your father didn't have you arrested for what you did to those children. You understand what I'm saying? Instead, he kicked you out. I think he should have called the police. He should have called DFACS and had you arrested, because now you wouldn't be able to come up with this false story. So what they did was everything that they did, everything that they was into, they blamed it and said, this is what Dr. York did. This is Dr. York's fault. Now, I got something that I want to read to y'all that's deep, okay? And then we're going to end this. I just want to make sure that I covered everything. You know what I'm saying? Jacob York is an informant. He works for the feds, okay? He's an agent, all right? He's not what y'all... Listen, all them gigs that he getting is because Kedar Massenberg is helping him. That's why he's where he's at in the music industry. He's not a smart guy. He's perverted. He's disgusting, too. He's ugly. He's ugly. I don't know what woman would want to see a man that look like that take his clothes off, because he look like a freaking monster. Okay? All right, now. This is Zachariah Sitchin book called The War of Gods and Men. Now, there's a section in this book that Dr. Malachi York suggested that we read called Prisoners of the Pyramid. Hold on a second. Hold on, I want to read this. Let me see. I got it over there. Nope, hold on. Hold on, y'all. Okay. Wait, let me see something. Okay. Oh, no, this ain't good. Let's see. Okay, this is good. This is good right here. Perfect. All right, so now, it's called Prisoner of the Pyramid, right? And Dr. Malachi York had suggested that we read this book, and he told Adrian Patrick, who was the attorney at the time, who was going up to visit, who he called the giant Jinn. Adrian Patrick, he said that this book is about what happened to Murdoch, and that Abigail is Inanna in the story. It's telling the story about Murdoch being a prisoner in the pyramid, and it talks about the blocks, how he got out. So I'm going to read this small paragraph about Murdoch, and then you all can get the book and read it. It's a page turner. Trust me. Okay. It says, now, what happened, let me speed y'all up. What happened was Dumuzi had violated a law by having sex with his sister, right? These are gods, right? These are the Anunnaki, okay? And so I remember Baba wrote me a long time ago, and he told me in one of my letters that he was a mess as Murdoch, and that Anu had sentenced him to Nibiru. He had to go back from Earth to Nibiru. So these are extraterrestrials, okay? And as I read to you in this book, Dr. York says, I am an extraterrestrial, and they know it, okay? And some of us are star children, okay? We are not from here. So now he says, now let's talk about this part. It says, the seeds Dumuzi manages to escape and reaches a river. Dumuzi is on the run because he violated by having sex with his own sister. He tricked her, took her somewhere, they had a picnic, and he was not supposed to do that. He was in violation of the rules, you know. So so he's on the run. So the swirling waters did not let Dumuzi reach the other riverbank, where his mother and Inanna was standing by to offer him protection. Instead, there did a boat wrecking waters carry the lad towards Kur. To Kur, that's a place in Mesopotamia. Did the boat wrecking waters carry the spouse of Inanna? This and other parallel texts revealed that those who had come to seize Dumuzi were in fact arresting him in accordance with the orders given by the higher God, the master of Kur, who a sentence did pass upon him. But it could not have been a sentence passed by the full assembly of the gods. In Lilites, gods such as Utu and Shamash and Inanna were helping Dumuzi escape. The sentence then was one-sided, passed only by the authority of the master of the arresting deputies. He was none other than Murdoch, the elder brother of both Dumuzi and Geshtinana. So Murdoch was the eldest brother of Dumuzi and Geshtinana. Geshtinana was the one that Dumuzi had raped, his sister. Geshtinana is a woman, Dumuzi is a guy, and Murdoch is the oldest brother. His identity comes through in a text named by scholars, the myths of Inanna and Bilulu. It was the shady old Bilili, turns out to have been a male, the Lord Bilulu in Bilulu in disguise, and a very deity who directed the punitive actions against Dumuzi. Now, Zachariah Stitchin is explaining what the scholars and people are talking about with this story, that it really happened. So he says, Akkadian text dealing with the divine epics explains that in Bululu was Murdoch, Shah Hatati, the god Murdoch who had sinned, and the sorrower of Inanna, meaning that he made Inanna upset. Inanna is Abigail. That's what Baba said. Having disapproved of the Dumuzi and Inanna love match from the beginning, now, remember what I told y'all, that she wanted to be with Baba's son, and Baba said no, right? So, but Baba said that that's not what it was. Baba said Dumuzi was Jacob, but I don't know. I gotta go back, and then I'll come back and tell y'all what my final was. I didn't have enough time to figure it out. So, having disapproved of Dumuzi and Inanna love match from the beginning, Murdoch, no doubt, was even more opposed to the union after the Pyramid Wars. The rape of Geshtinana by Dumuzi's politically motivated, meaning that he did it politically to get in some kind of way, right? Was thus an opportunity for Murdoch to block the designs of Inanna had on Egypt by seizing and punishing Dumuzi. Did Murdoch intend to put Dumuzi to death? Probably not. Solitary exile was the customary punishment. But the death of Dumuzi in a manner that has remained unclear was probably accidental. So now Baba said that Jacob York was upset that his mother died and blamed it on Baba. So in the story, they saying Dumuzi had died, and Inanna, which is Ishtar, blamed the death of Dumuzi on Murdoch, right? But whether it was accidental or not was irrelevant to Inanna. Like, she didn't care. As far as she was concerned, Murdoch had caused her beloved's death. And as the text made clear, she sought revenge. What is in holy Inanna's heart? To kill the Lord Bilulu. Now they saying Bilulu is Murdoch. Working with fragments found in a collection of Mesopotamian tablets dispersed in several museums, scholars have pieced together parts of a text that Samuel N. Cramner, the Sumerian mythology named Inanna Ibbe. He considered it as belonging to the cycle slaying of the dragons myth, for it deals with Inanna's struggle against an evil god hiding inside. In other words, they're saying that Inanna was having a struggle with this evil god that was inside of her, hiding inside the mountain. The available fragment relate how Inanna arms herself with an array of weapons to attack the god in his hiding place. Though the other guards tried to dissuade her, she confidently approached the mountain, which she called Bet, abode of sorrowful calling. Haughtily she proclaimed, Mountain, thou art high, thou art elevated above all others. Thou touchest the sky with thy lip. Yet I shall destroy thee. To the ground I shall fell thee. Inside thine heart, pain I will cause. This is her talking, looking at the mountain, saying what she's going to do to Murdoch. That the mountain was the Great Pyramid. That confrontation was at Giza in Egypt. It is evident not only from the text, but also from deception on the Sumerian cylinder seal. Inanna shown in her familiar, enticing, half-naked pose, is seen confronting a god based upon three pyramids. The pyramids are depicted exactly as they appear to view in Giza. The Egyptians' Ansar, the priest in an Egyptian headdress, and the entwined serpents add up to one local Egypt. As Inanna continued to challenge Murdoch, now hiding inside the mighty structure, her fury rose as he ignored her threats. For the second time, infuriated by his pride, Inanna approached the pyramid again and proclaimed, My grandfather Enlil has permitted me to enter inside the mountain. Now, what's weird is that her son name is Enlil, Abigail. She says, My grandfather Enlil has permitted me to enter inside the mountain. Flaunting her weapons, she haughtily announced, Into the heart of the mountains I shall penetrate. Inside the mountain, my victory I shall establish. Getting no response, she began her attack. She ceased not striking the sides of Ibn, and in all its corners, even its multitude of raised stones. But inside the great serpent who had gone his poison ceased not to spit. Anu himself then intervened. The guard hiding inside, he warned her, possessed awesome weapons. Their outburst is terrible. They'll prevent you from entering. Inside, Anu advised her to seek justice by putting the hiding guard on trial. This is Murdoch going to trial. The text then identify this guard as the Nurta text. He is called a Zag, a nickname, the Great Serpent, and a name and a derogatory in Lilite, epithet for Murdoch. His hiding place is also clearly identified as the Eat Quarter, whose walls awesomely reach the skies, the Great Pyramid. The record of the trial and sentencing of Murdoch is unavailable from a fragmentary text published by the Babylonian section of the Museum of the University of Pennsylvania. The extent lines between where the guards had surrounded the pyramid and a guard chosen to be a spokesman addressed Murdoch in his enclosure. The one who was evil, he implored. Murdoch was moved by the message. Despite the anger of his heart, clear tears came to his eyes as he agreed to come out and stand trial. The trial was held within sight of the pyramids in a temple by the riverbank. To the place of reverence by the river, with him who was accused they stepped. In truth they made the enemies stand aside. Justice was performed. In sentencing Murdoch, the mystery of Dumuzi's death posed a problem. That Murdoch was responsible for the death, there was no doubt, but it was premeditated or accidental. Murdoch deserved a death sentence. But what if his crime was not deliberate? Standing there in sight of the pyramids, with Murdoch fresh out of his hiding place, the solution dawned on Inanna. as she proceeded to address the guards. On this day, the lady herself, who speaks truth, the accuser of Azag, the great princess, an awesome judgment uttered. There was no way to sentence Murdoch to death without actually executing him, she said. Let him be buried alive within a great pyramid. Let him be sealed there as in a gigantic envelope, in a great envelope that is sealed, with no one to offer him nourishment, alone to suffer, the portable water source to be cut off. The judging gods accepted her suggestions. The mistress art thou, the fate thou decreest, so let it be. Let it be so. Assuming that Anu would go along with the verdict, the gods then placed the command to heaven and earth. The Ikur, the great pyramid, had become a prison, and the one of epithets of its mistress was therefore mistress of the prison. It was then we believed that the sealing of the great pyramid was complete, leaving Murdoch alone in the king's chambers, the arresting guards released behind them the granite plugs of the ascending passage, irrevocably blocking tight all access to the upper chambers and passages. Through the channels leading from the king's chamber to the north and south faces the pyramid, Murdoch had air to breathe, but he had neither food nor water. He was buried alive, doomed to die in agony. So then, I don't want to get into that. I want to get into the part where they said a goddess appears. She is Serapent, the sister and wife of Murdoch. She is confronted by a messenger who weeps before her, saying unto the mountain, they have taken him. He shows her the garments of Murdoch, possibly bloodstained. These are his raiments, which they took off him. He says, instead of these, he reports Murdoch with the garment of sentence was clothed. What the audience is shown, now they talking about a play that was talking about the captivity of Murdoch. And this means in a coffin he is. Murdoch has been buried. Sarah Pink goes to a structure that symbolizes Murdoch's tomb. She sees a group of mourners. The script explains these are those who make lament after the guards had locked him up, separating him from among the living, into the house of captivity, away from the sunlight, and put him in prison. And it goes on. But if the sin of Murdoch is indirect cause of Dumuzi's death, Sarah Pant reappears, wearing the garments of atonement. Symbolically, she wipes away the blood that has been spilled. With pure water, she washes her hands. It is water for hand washing, which they bring after the evildoer has been carried away. Now, I want to get back in. The description of how Murdoch shall be released has remained meaningless to scholars, but the verses are explosively meaningful to us, as we have explained. The irregular and twisted segment C and the well shaft had not existed when the pyramid was completed and when Murdoch was imprisoned within it. It was instead the very doorway shaft which the guards will bore to rescue Murdoch. Still familiar with the pyramid's inner layout, the Anunnaki realized that the shortest and quickest way to reach the starved Murdoch was to tunnel the connection shaft. They're just talking about how they got him out. So, and then it says that Murdoch got out. And it says, it was the rescuers of Murdoch, we suggest, who used their tools to break through the limestone blocks, the link between D and B, a hollowing into its insides. They shall twistly bore, in the words of the ancient text. To gain access to those chambers and passengers, it was necessary to remove a wedge-like ramp, but it was a wedge too tightly that could not be moved. Anyway, I want to get into the part where he got out. It says, having broken through the grand gallery, the rescuers led Murdoch back the way they came. The entry from the descending passage was sealed up again, to be discovered by Al-Mumun's men. The granite plugs remained in place with the triangular junction stone hiding the plugs and the ascending passage for millennia. And inside the pyramid, the original upper and lower parts of the well shaft were now for all future days connected by a twisting harshly tunnel segment. And what of the rescued prisoner of the pyramid? Mesopotamian text relates that he went into exile in Egypt. Ra acquired the Petheth Amun, the hidden one. So it says that when he came out as Ra, Amun Ra, the end, the hidden one. So I wanted to read that. There was one more thing that I had to address, y'all, that was so important. I'm trying to remember before I end this call about Jacob York and how he set Dr. Melakazi York up, how they all lied. Barbara Noel, the girl Ada Nicole Lopez, Dr. York sent me a letter that she wrote him and said, I can make this all go away. She tried to extort him and said for him to send her $5,000. You know? So it's like Abigail's a liar. Abigail Habiba Washington. You didn't escape a cult. You lied. You're a devil. You overstand in Nana. You was upset and you was angry and you was furious. You were reading a book. You were conspiring and you were setting this whole thing up from the beginning. Y'all all went to South Beach, Florida to make sure that y'all lies added up. Y'all all lied on Dr. Melakazi York. And Sheriff Sills, he's just a racist devil. The man behind incarceration of Dr. Melakazi York is none other than Jacob York. Hold on, there was something else that I had to cover, y'all. I'm trying to remember. It came to my mind and then I forgot. Anyway, y'all, this was sad. Today's the day of our loss. We're supposed to be fasting all day. For those of you who don't know, well, it won't be another year. We're supposed to fast today. We drink liquids. We eat, you can eat mashed potatoes, make it real liquidy. Applesauce, you can whip that up. You can, you just don't put food in. And we fasting. This is the day, May 8th, when they incarcerated Dr. Melakazi York. They put an innocent man in prison for a crime that never happened. And these people are the people behind it. They set him up, y'all. They set Dr. Melakazi York up. An innocent man put in prison by these evil people. All these whores and all these evil people are the reason why Dr. Melakazi York is in prison. And yeah, you can sit up there and act like you want your father home, Uma York. Let me tell y'all a story about this girl, all right, before I end, because I wanted to remember this. Because she's a part of it too. She knew all about it. And she was a part of it too, okay? And Leah knew about it too. They all were a part of it, all right? Bob's own children, his own children. I want to tell y'all something. Check this out, right? Uma York had came to me, right? And then I'm gonna end this call, but I'm gonna say this because this is disturbing. She came to me, right? She said, I wanna see my father. I wanna go visit my father. First it was her and her brother Mahmoud. And I said, sure, that's not a problem. I can get you up there, But in my mind, I'm like, maybe Bob is sending her to me. Why is she coming to me? Why does she want to see her father now? Right? So I said, okay. And so I made my phone calls. I made some connections. And I had her on a three-way with me from a higher up in executive office in D.C. And the lady asked her for all her personal information. And then after the lady got her information, Uma York was contacted by the prison. I made that happen because she wanted to see her father, okay? She contacted the prison. The prison contacted her and told her what she needed to fill out. I gave her a visitation form from online, told her and her brother to fill it out. Mahmoud never filled it out. He didn't want to go see his father. Uma York wanted to go see her father. I said, okay. So if I was hating on her so much, Or if I'm not the one that's working to help her father, why would she come to me? Why wouldn't she go to Fatima York? Or why would she go to Dale Elaine Brown? Why did she go to Nababtet and them who goes up on a visit? Why did she call me? Okay? She reached out to me and said, I want to visit my father. I reached out to her because the DFACS people wanted to talk to her husband's daughter who was molested by Deuce Y. York. Okay? Now, the SIS people, Special Investigation Services in the prison, reached out to Care and said, are you really his daughter? And she said, yeah, we could take a DNA test. That's my father, blah, 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 blah. I'll show you, blah, blah. You know, and they went to, because in the feds, ain't nobody just coming up to visit you. You got to be on a visitation list, right? Which is why she contacted me. She went up to, they spoke to her. They got all her information. They took it to Dr. Melakazi York. And guess what? He did not want to see her. He denied the visit. So how you going to get mad at me now because your father don't want to see your crazy ass and blame me for that? And now all of a sudden you're saying you're working to help your father. You're not. And I'm going to tell you why Dr. York don't want to see her, because she's a freaking disgrace to all you freaking black devils that's giving her your money and saying, oh, and trying to get close to her because that's Baba's daughter. You are sadly mistaken. Okay? She is on his poo-poo list. I wanted to say another word. But I got this right here, right? So then, hold on. Then she was in New York running a Dow Matrix business because that's what she does. And guess what? That's her business. I don't care. But you're not going to lie on me and make me seem like I'm lying when you came to me for help. And then when your father didn't want anything to do with you, you start slandering my name with that freaking devil, Quans William Hill. All right? So I wanted to say that to you, that she's a part of the conspiracy too. And her father didn't want nothing to do with her. She was calling him a pedophile, saying that he did this, calling the police on the Wapians in New York, throwing water out the window to them. I did a whole video on this freaking water bug. Hold on a second. Here she go right here. Now, here she go right here. This is her. This is one of her clients. She went live on Instagram. This is from Instagram. That's her up there. And that's him down there. And she was telling this Caucasian man to lick the floor. She said, lick the floor. Drink water out the toilet. She was telling him to do all of this stuff, and he was doing it. And she was laughing, and everybody seen it. So don't try to act like all of a sudden now you want Dr. York home. That's a freaking lie, all right? They are all liars, okay? They liars, instigators, set up people, lie to the government. They work for the freaking, and you freaking pig. He's a freaking pig. You freaking pig. Y'all know this man is a serial killer? You know what he did? You know what he used to do when he was a kid? I read up, Baba sent me a picture of a man that was a serial killer that looked exactly like him, right? He got a lot of dirt underneath his belt. He trying to pretend he this sheriff and he's a devil. He's a pink-faced freaking pig. You know what this man did? He saw God. He saw a man in his neighborhood. And he killed a bluebird. And the man said, I'll give you a nickel for every bluebird you bring me. And he came back in about 3 or 4 hours with a basket full of dead bluebirds. He's a sick man. That's a sign of a serial killer. He broke his wife's jaw. He tried to hide that. You understand? He divorced her and broke her freaking jaw. He's a demon. And they look alike. He's just a black version of him. Look, don't they look alike? So these niggas set Dr. Melakazi York up, wanting to take over the land, they thought they was going to be millionaires. She thought she was going to take the building. They thought they was going to take over everything, and they was going to have all of this money. And it backfired on them. And now they being exposed on my channel, Ashanti Zulu 144. And I ain't scared of none of you lying freaking devils. Y'all set Baba up and put him in prison, put an innocent man in jail. These the type of niggas you will never want to let in your house. Because they smile in your face, behind their back, they got a whole nother plan. He's a freaking murderer too. You set your brother up. You put innocent people in prison. Little Kim, Gucci Man. You on payroll. You in Deuce York. You sexually molested children. And I hope they come forth and expose you like I'm exposing you now. So I wanted to expose that. I wanted to tell y'all about these freaking devils. And I wanted to tell y'all about the story about Murdoch, the prisoner of the pyramid. And Zachariah Sitchin breaks everything down from facts, from displays and scholars and what they spoke about with Murdoch being in the pyramid. And they said that he got out. The guards opened the doors. And they said, no, he was wrongfully accused. And then when he got out, he exiled. He went to Africa. Okay? So those of you who support me, continue to support me. This is my last update. I don't want to do any more of these. I have to relive this disgusting stuff. I have to read things and go listen to this horrible stuff that happened to Dr. Melakazi York, and it's very disheartening for me. You understand? Because I'm a fighter. I'm talking about physically. I'm not a troublemaker, but trust me, I'm a fighter in the spirit world, and I'm a fighter. I'm not the type of girl that's gonna let somebody push me and keep walking. You understand? I'm not gonna let somebody smack me and cry. No, I'm not gonna do that. Okay? So they got the right one, because I'm not gonna sit back here and continue to let this go on for years and years and years. And the thing is this, if Dr. Melakazi York is so guilty, why y'all still doing things to try to hinder him from being free? You never worked with me. Dr. Melakazi York told y'all to work with me. Y'all never wanted to work with me. Y'all let this freaking homosexual, stinking, funky, big booty looking, nasty, funky water bug do this to Dr. Melakazi York. And yeah, I know it's been a long time, but it ain't over till it's over. Dr. Melakazi York gave his whole life up for us. We should do the same for him. And with that, I'm out. Y'all heard all the testimonies from people that said that federal agents put guns to their head. Y'all heard what Dr. Melakazi York said in this book. He said he's an extraterrestrial, and he is. Many of you saw crafts fall out the sky. Not fall, I mean come from out the sky. Y'all were there. Y'all met Dr. Melakazi York. Y'all was on the Holy Land, Tamaray of the West. Y'all met the master teacher. Y'all saw the wonderful things he did. He lived with us. He's never established anything where he lived separate. We were all there. And for Abigail to say that she escaped, the doors was open. Your father was right there. You could have left. Look, there were people coming, visiting from outside, coming in. Go to the New York Times. I forgot what year it is. I'm going to find out, and I'll go live and let y'all. You can see the New York Times where they're showing you these great monuments that this man built. People came from all over. And Baba was about to take over everything. They was like, we got to get this man out of here. And Jacob came forth, and that was Sheriff Seals' dreams, because Sheriff Seals is a dummy. He got the mind of a fifth grader. Not even a fifth grader. He has the mind of a third. He's a dumb man. He's stupid. There's no way he would have been able to come and do all of this like this. He's a devil. You understand? You understand what I'm saying? So he used Jacob. Jacob got with Abigail. Abigail got those girls together. And y'all heard what the FBI agents did. They put guns to their head. They coerced him. They lied on Dr. Melakazi York. Said that he did this. You need to say that he did this. Because if you don't, we're going to put you in jail. Putting guns to their freaking head. That's crazy. Anyway, y'all. Dr. Melakazi York will be 80 years old this year. He's been incarcerated for a very long time. And he will be free. How? When? I don't know. But I know he will be free. Y'all take care. He will be home. I don't think he's going to stay in there another year. You all take care. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for being patient and listening to this. I hope you all go through this with a fine tooth comb and understand. Y'all see the pictures of the people that lied, how they all went to South Beach, Florida, Barbara Noel. What was you doing in a house with Jacob, sleeping with Dr. York's son? They are freaking disgusting, man. Talking about he got this safe house for them, a halfway house, that he got some house and they was all there. That was all a plot to get y'all to go. All he wanted to do was see him get locked up. And the day that Dr. Melikazi York got locked up and they raided the land, Jacob York, Kedar Massenberg, and Fatima York were all on a three-way call together. So that's letting you know who's behind this. And I want to say this one thing. I know I said I was going to leave, but I don't want to forget this. A lot of you know what I'm saying is true. A lot of y'all know what the real deal is, and y'all know who's behind the incarceration of Dr. Melikazi York. You all know that he did not do this, and y'all sit back and y'all don't do shit. Y'all sit back and y'all eat and party and have these fish fries with these freaking witches eating they freaking food. I would never eat no food from the hands of a witch. Never. They every time you turn around, they having fish fries and they having all these celebrations with they Baphomet inverted 5-pointed star. These satanic people in this tribe. Y'all know that Dr. Melikazi York is innocent and y'all not doing anything about it. You are going to be held accountable. Get on board and help me, or shut up, okay? And pray. Do something. Do something. Don't sit back and let this continue to go on. All right? With that, I'm out. I don't have anything else to say. No more updates. Y'all could go through my things and figure it out. Unless I get permit, unless the math teacher tell me to come live again, I ain't going live no more. I'm done. I got my life to live and things to do, to continue, with my fight, but without talking to y'all. I got stuff I need to do for myself. Get my stomach flat and get in shape because Bob is coming out and I want to be ready. All right? So I got my things to do for myself, And self-preservation, man. I'm always doing everything for everybody else but me. You understand? So now it's my turn to do things for me. And if I get permission, those of you that are getting your letters back, that's not my fault. Okay? The prison found out Baba did have his writing privileges, and there were people that got letters back from him. That's not my fault that they shut it down again. Maybe I should have never said anything. I should have just kept it quiet because that's what messed it up. So if you got your letter back, it's not my fault, man. Stop complaining. Do something. When they send you the letter back, they send you something saying that you can appeal it. Then do something. Stop complaining all the time about what I said and how I didn't do this. And look, man, I'm doing something. I didn't sit back and leave Bob in there to die at the hands of the devil. Y'all stop beating me up, man, and get on these people that's pretending that they the master teacher. Get on them. That's not doing anything. When they put Bob's face up there when in trial and they exposed him on YouTube saying, look, he pleaded guilty and he was incoherent, why didn't anybody do anything about that? Why? Y'all not thinking. Think back and then look at what's happening now. All these niggas are frauds, all of them, and they're the reason why he's in there, not me. All right? Continue to support me if you can. If you don't want to support me, then don't. All right? But if you want to support me, man. I'm still doing things. I'm not talking about it. And like I said, I'm not going live unless the math teacher asks me to. If he doesn't ask me to go live again, I'm not. And I do think I will expose some sisters. I'm thinking about it. But this stuff is draining my being. These freaking evil people. I don't like looking at them. They're disgusting. Because when I lived in a community, they had everything. These people ain't want for nothing. Baba spoiled them, man. And now this is the thanks he get. I'm so disappointed. And like I said, I don't want to be upset anymore. I don't want to think about this anymore. I want to focus on our future. And I could feel it. I know where he's coming home. And I want to focus on our future. And I want to prepare for his return. And you all should be doing the same thing. All right? Why do?